Hey guys, and welcome to or back to the Pause in Pursuit, I nearly said podcast, YouTube channel. So today I'm bringing you a full week of workouts, agility handler and dog edition. So that means not only are you going to get my full week of gym workouts, including running, anything else that I do workout wise in the week, but you're also going to get all of the exercises that I do with Arrow, the physio and the stretching that I do with him every week as well. So you're going to get both, and yeah, lucky you basically. Look at me on my YouTube grind as well. I literally just bashed out a full week in the live, so if you haven't, I was about to say listened again, I'm in podcast mode constantly. If you haven't watched the week in the live video that I recently uploaded last week, I believe, last Monday, go check that out because that was a good one. I really enjoyed filming that one, that was fun. I really enjoyed filming this as well. It did mean I had to film in the gym, and you always get some bizarre looks, you always get people walking in front of the camera, but I reckon it was worth it. Yeah, really enjoyed filming it. I'm pretty consistent with my workouts in the sense of, well, I'm pretty consistent with working out in general, but they usually stay the same. I think it's pretty important to, stick with the same exercises for a pretty long period so you can progressively overload them, which means either increase your reps or your weight or your sets over time so you get better at that exercise. And you're never going to get better at an exercise if you keep changing that exercise to something else and not doing it anymore. So these are the workouts that I do pretty much week in, week out, the exact same. If a machine is taken, I will change up the order. I'm not too picky with that, but I try and do my compound exercises, so my most sort of heavy, difficult exercises at the start of the workout when I have the most energy, and then do the more isolation movements at the end, which is sort of, for example, your hamstring curl, so that's isolating the hamstrings at the end, whereas I would do like a squat or something, the goblet squats nearer the start, or a hip thrust, because you're recruiting lots of different muscle groups and it's much harder basically, and I'm trying to push more weight in it. So yeah, I will talk you through each exercise, so I'm not going to get too much into it now. And then obviously I've also got Arrows. Obviously I get his exercises from a physio who I take him to a professional. I'm not professional in any sense with human or dog exercise or conditioning, but this is just what I do, and to be honest, this does work. So don't copy exactly what I do by any means, but just take some inspiration. Let me know if you try my workouts. Anyway, I would be really interested, see how you find them. But I'm rambling once again, so without further ado, let's get straight into a week of workouts for me and Arrow. Alright, so we're going to start with how I warm up. So on upper body days, so that's shoulders and arms and chest and back, I use the rowing machine to warm my upper body up. And on lower body days, so that's legs and glutes, I jog on the treadmill. I walk for about a minute, run for about 3.5, and then slow down to a walk for the last 30 seconds. So now we go into chest and back day. So I start off with a barbell bench press, and I do all of these exercises, 10 reps, 3 sets, but obviously I'm not going to show you all of them. So nice and controlled. I can't lift too much weight on this exercise. Then we go into a lat pull down. So I struggle to engage my back on this exercise, so I've really been working on engaging the back and not using my arms as much to pull down the weight. Again, keeping it nice and controlled and steady. And then we go into incline dumbbell bench press. So again, it's trying not to lock the elbows out too much, but I kind of look like I do, but I can feel it that I don't do it too much, otherwise it would be uncomfortable. But yeah, taking those dumbbells nice and low. Then we go into seated row. I love this exercise. So again, remembering that it is a back exercise and not a chest exercise. So really engaging that back. Again, slow on the when the weight is going back towards the machine. And then a nice powerful pull with those back muscles. Then we're going into dumbbell fly. So pretend your arms are wings, basically. Take the dumbbells just below where your body is on the bench. And then straight back up into the air to meet in the middle. Again, nice and controlled. If you go too fast, it is quite easy to pull a muscle on this exercise, so you don't want to be doing that.
Again, just use weights that you're comfortable with. And then the last exercise is incline dumbbell row. So again, positioning myself on a bench there with my chest just resting on the bench. And you really want to think that you're sticking your chest out when you get to the top of the movement. So let your shoulders round forward at the bottom of the movement and then chest out as you pull up. Now we're going into my first legs and glutes workout. So we're starting off with a barbell CAS glute bridge. So this isn't a hip thrust because I am not letting the weight rest on the floor. I'm keeping the tension in those glutes. Again, you've got to be careful with your lower back in this one. So nice, slow and controlled, and keep your chin tucked. Then we go into heel elevated dumbbell goblet squat. So obviously, as you can see, my heels are up and resting on a weight there on the floor. Nice and controlled on the way down, getting as low as possible before powering up. Again, trying not to lock out the knees too much and securing the weight there under my chin. Now we go into kettlebell or dumbbell step up, whatever you'd like to hold in your hand as a weight. I'm only stepping back down onto a weight because that puts me at a really good height. Again, you'll just have to fiddle around with what height. You can feel it in your glutes more, but just contract that glute as you push up, and then nice and slow. You don't want to be pushing off with the leg that's on the floor. You want to keep the tension in the glutes. So just try and peel that back foot on and off the weight without pushing off. You want to be doing all the work with the glute that is raised, as it is a glute exercise, and you want to try not to engage the quads more than the glutes, as it's meant to be glute focused. Again, you don't have to go really heavy on this, and you can hold on to something with the other hand that the weight's not in if you need balance, but I like to test my core stability at the same time by not holding on. Okay, now we're going into leg extension. So again, this is quite easy to get right because it is an isolation movement and it is on a machine. Just grip those handles, make sure your back is in a good stable position. Now we go into glute abductor. So we're pushing out with those glutes and hips, and nice and slow on the way back in. I do like to do a tiny little pause there on the outside of the movement. Now we go into hamstring curls. I have very tight hamstrings, so I don't love this exercise, but I go quite light. But again, making sure to keep those heels to the sky so that you don't affect the knee in that movement. Now we're going into our shoulders and arms workout, starting off with a dumbbell seated shoulder press. So as you can see the angle of the dumbbells there in my hands, you want to try and achieve that angle. I don't really know how to explain it, but you can see it's not kind of straight. It's kind of angled inwards a little bit. Now we're going into our dumbbell bicep curls. Again, I do 10 on each arm, so that's 20 in total, but I'm not going to show you all of that. One arm at a time just means you can lift a little bit more weight, which I like to do. I really do like this exercise. This one seems to be going on for quite a long time. I hope you're enjoying watching me doing my bicep curls there, but just make sure that you're tensing your core while you're doing these exercises as well to protect your back, because, you know, I have quite a dodgy back, so I'm always tensing my core to make sure, you know, not excessively, just enough to stabilise the rest of my body and make sure only the muscles that I want to work are working. Now we've gone into the dumbbell front raise. So again, it's very easy to swing your whole body to try and use momentum for this exercise, but and again, there is a little bit of momentum involved, but try and keep it as strict as possible. And strict just means, again, just using the limbs or the muscles that you are actually trying to work. So just trying to use the arms and shoulders for this and not swinging the body too much. But like I said, if you're pushing that weight, you're going to have a little bit, and that's fine. Now we go into the dumbbell up row. So again, really slow on the downwards movement of the exercise, and then nice powerful up. And you want the weights to be parallel, so both arms are nice and even. This is a proper burner, this is. Now we're going into dumbbell lat raise or lateral raise. So again, I do one arm at a time just so I can push a little bit more weight. But if you're doing one arm at a time, especially, you've got to make sure that you are staying nice and central and that you're not twisting your core or chest too much to each side. And you want to make sure you're not using your neck muscles as well. They can often become quite engaged when you don't want them to be. So just make sure you're really feeling those lats in your back there and your shoulders as well, obviously. I can never really increase the weight too much on that exercise. I don't know why, I just find it quite difficult. I'm only using 4 kilograms, I think. Now, our last exercise of this workout is the cable tricep pull down. So again, I like to do a little pause at the bottom of the movement like that, and then raise it slowly and push back down, little pause to get that burn, and then back up. Again, the cable makes it really good for really isolating the triceps, and you want to try and stick your bum out. So now our second legs and glutes workout of the week, starting with the leg press. So again, just play with the weight here. I have found what is comfortable for me, but again, really slow on the downwards movement and then up. You don't, and any of these exercises really involve squatting in this way. You don't want your knee to go over your toes, so that is really important, otherwise you may hurt your knee. I've fairly long legs in comparison to my body, so I struggle with that sometimes, but I do my best. We're always learning. Now we go into the dumbbell Bulgarian split squat, and I used to hate this exercise, but I actually love it now. It takes quite a bit of balance, but obviously, as you can see, use your other arm to stabilize yourself, and again, make sure you're not using the foot that's resting on the bench to push off. It all wants to come from that glute, the glute of your forwards leg, and again, try and contract the glutes instead of using the quads, and tense your core. You want to lean forwards but sit back into the movement. Now we have dumbbell deficit reverse lunges. So again, keeping the knee behind the toe as much as possible, one leg at a time for these squatting exercises, split squats, sorry. So again, you can see my front leg the working leg is slightly elevated on a weight. That just makes it more difficult, makes it slightly harder. And I'm leaning forward slightly but keeping relatively straight. This is mainly a quads exercise, but a slight lean forward is okay. You'll engage a bit of the glutes, and it also helps for balance. I have a weight in each hand here, and you want to make sure you're taking that lunge nice and far back, as this prevents your knee from going too far over your toes. Now we have the glute kickback. So again, this is helpful because there is a machine that you want to fiddle around and get the height right for where your stomach is resting. But again, I like to do a little pause at the back of the movement, as you can see, and then nice and slow back in, and then a nice push. Again, keep your toe to the sky. So if you know what I mean, like push your heel back so that you don't hurt your knee, and make sure you're really focusing on the contraction of the glute as you push out. Now we have calf raises. So again, I like to do a slight pause when I get to the end of the movement, and then nice and slow in. You want your heel just to surpass your toe on the way back, and then push out, contracting those calves as you push. Then we have the glute adductor finally, which is the opposite of a glute abductor. So again, you're using your glutes and your hips to push inwards here. So again, I like to do a little pause at the inside of the movement as I squeeze my glutes. Now this is the core workout that I do at the end of every workout. So I do 2 times 10 of all of these movements. So we're starting off with a crunch, and I do this after every single one of those workouts. It takes like 5 to 10 minutes. So a little crunch there, with a pause at the top. With sit-ups or crunches, you don't have to go all the way up. Just little small movements and contract your core the whole time, and you will feel it. And now bent leg raise. So again, squeezing your core there as you do this movement is really important, and push your lower back into the floor, and just let your heels just slightly tap the floor, but again, not much. You want to keep that tension in your glutes. And I do 10 in total, so 5 on each leg for this one, and keeping a 90-degree angle in your legs. I then do a low plank for 30 seconds, keeping your back nice and flat as much as you can, and making sure your bum isn't in the air. And then a high plank for 30 seconds as well. So obviously elbows on the floor in the first one, and then straight arms in the second one, basically. And both of those are for 30 seconds. Then I do Pilates one day a week. And then I run one day a week. I usually do a 5K. Obviously, there's not too much to show for those two things. And then the other day, I will probably go swimming or run again. And here is my cool down. So these are the exercises I do to cool down. So this is a tricep stretch you are seeing here, just over the head like that. And then this is just stretching out the triceps again and the shoulders as well. Again, play around with these, see how you feel the stretch best. This is just stretching out the bicep and the underarm here. Again, make sure you don't stretch too far. Needs to be a gentle cool down stretch. And opening up the chest here, this is to cool down the chest and back. This is a really nice one. I like the feeling of this one. And then this one is also for, well, this is pretty much for all of the upper body. It's mainly the back. You're stretching the back and shoulders and slightly the chest on the side where your arm is raised. And then this is my lower body cool down. So this is obviously stretching the hamstrings and the calves out. Then you've got a hamstring stretch again in calves. As you can see, I am terrible at stretching my hamstrings out. I have quite tight hamstrings. This is evident in this stretch and Pilates. And here we go, we're just stretching out the inside of our legs here, inner thighs, things like that. Now this one is mainly for the quads, so making sure to push your pelvis forward when you're doing this one, and you'll really feel that quad stretch, sorry. And this one is for the glutes, so straight back if possible and really hugging that leg as close to you as possible, and you should feel it on the outside of your glutes. Now we're going to go into Arrow's physio, so this is his strength exercises. I do 3 lots of these, 4 lots of these, and remember he has a slightly weaker left leg, so this is really trying to focus on getting him to work that. I do 2 sit to stands, making sure that he keeps his back left leg static through the whole movement, 5 stepping his back legs over a pole, and then 3 side stepping over a pole. So I do 2 on his left side and 1 on his right side. He has to do this nice and slowly, 1 paw at a time, leading with the side that he is approaching the pole from. Now for his post-agility stretches, so we do 5 lots of these, just stretching forward with the back legs raised. Then we do 5 of these as well, front feet raised slightly higher than the back legs and stretching upwards. We do 6 to 8 reps of a back left leg target just to get him using that leg. And then I heat pack his knees for 10 minutes as he's weaker here as well.
So there you have it, a full week of workouts for me and Arrow. I hope you really enjoyed that and found it quite informative as well, because yes, I like to be entertaining, but I like to think I add a bit of value too. So if you found that helpful, do let me know. If you try any of my workouts, please also let me know. That would be great. Or film yourself doing some of the exercises and put it on your story and tag me. I would love to see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So now you literally know a week in my life and the workouts that I do. You basically spent an entire week with me over the last few weeks with the YouTube videos I've been putting out there. So yeah, really happy to finally got those 2 filmed. I know they were really highly requested. And that's pretty much it. And please do keep sending me your YouTube video recommendations. Obviously I concentrate on the podcast, so I don't get tons of like vlog style YouTube videos done, but I'm going to try and do more show vlogs into next year. Obviously I don't have any more shows this year in 2023, but this style of video I'm definitely going to try and do more, just normal YouTube videos, that's as well as the podcast. But obviously I have a job outside of social media. Well, no, I don't actually, that's a lie. Social media is my job. But I mean, outside of my own social media accounts, I have a job in social media. So obviously, you know, videos are quite time consuming to make, but I do love making them. So I'm going to try and push my YouTube videos a little bit more in 2024. So yeah, let me know if that is something that would interest you, if you'd like to see more of these style of YouTube videos. And yeah, go follow me on all of the social media channels. I will put them here on the screen, and I was about to say in the description on Apple Podcasts and stuff, but no, I'm not going to do that because this is not a podcast episode. Wow, I'm so predictable. You can see how many podcast episodes I record. But yeah, go follow me on all of those social media platforms. I'm active on them pretty much every single day, most of them. And yeah, if you want to see more of me and the dogs and my agility journey and my fitness journey as well, go follow those. And talking to the podcast, if you don't already listen to the Pause in Pursuit podcast, I think you should go check that out as well. I cover lots of entertaining and educational content too. Got some fitness episodes out there as well. So that's pretty much it from me, and I hope you're all having a great festive period, and I will speak to you in probably the next podcast episode, but hopefully the next YouTube video as well. Bye guys.